journey through this land. We'll have our preacher to come up now, and I'm sure he got an encouraging word to say as well as a good lesson to say.
Amen. And you automatically got a smile around.
There you go.
You're going to get it out of you one way or another. But actually, you guys make me smile as well. I look forward to always being with you and to reason together through the scriptures. I was just thinking to myself, in the most humblest way I can, I've been studying the Bible seriously on my own for 25 years. And that being the case, I'm almost done with this lesson because I'm about out of what I can tell you. And because the coming of the kingdom and the second coming of Jesus is a huge topic, right? We've been studying since March of this year. And still there's more to teach. But I'm humble enough to say that, hey, I won't be able to stay on this topic too much longer because my mind is getting exhausted upon it. In other words, I'm running out of knowledge here. So we may revisit in the future other things as things are revealed to me through the scriptures. And but soon we'll be wrapping this up, in other words. But how are you doing tonight? You okay?
Yeah.
All right. You learning anything?
Yeah.
Applying anything?
Yeah.
You better say a course on that one, right? Because we can learn all we want and not make it to heaven, right?
That's right.
We got to put it into action as well. So let me get set where we're at. I remember that we left off at the parable of the fig tree. You remember we're going through Matthew 24. And as always, Matthew 24 really is the foundation of all of the teachings of the second coming of Jesus as well as the destruction of Jerusalem, right? Remember, we were talking about several events in that same chapter. So you remember, we got to keep it straight as to what God is actually talking about, what event. Otherwise, we'll come up with fanciful things that the Bible does not teach, right? So keep going. Just waiting on the computer to catch up with me. Then we'll get going. Almost there. All right, parable of preacher. Let's get there. It was 163 somewhere in there. We got over 170 some slides. That's how much we've been studying this. That's quite a bit. Yeah, here we go. All right. So we're at the point in Matthew 24, right? We're continuing to go down the chapter, and we've come to the point where he gave a parable of the fig tree, right? All right, so what he said, I'm talking about Jesus, of course. Remember, Jesus is the foundation of it all. Peter, Paul, and everybody else that addressed this topic later in the Bible, this was their foundation, right? Because the Holy Spirit is what? Speaking through Jesus as well as through what? Paul and Peter and the rest of the apostles. Otherwise, we misinterpreted something, right? They all have to harmonize or we're not telling the truth. Okay, so again, we're in Matthew 24, talking about the parable of the fig tree. And this is, I think, Brother Byron started talking about this on the last occasion. The Christians had every indication from God that the Roman invasion was coming, right? Yeah. All right, which occurred in what year, historically? 70 AD, right? And so in this scripture, all the way down 24, Jesus was preparing them for that moment, right? That is the true Great Tribulation. The true Great Tribulation was the Romans, right? Because we established from history from the non-Jewish, non-inspired person Josephus, right? That reported that 1 million people plus were killed, right? And so that means it was the greatest tribulation that ever happened on the planet. And Jesus foretold it like 40 years before it happened. So that shows you that Jesus is divine, right? And that if he could predict something that was 40 years after his time on earth in the flesh, then he could predict the second coming. Right? If you ever notice that Jesus would give you some type of indication that he's telling the truth, right? To substantiate who he is as the Son of God, right? To substantiate his story that, what? He's coming back to judge the world. So if he can call out the Roman invasion that happened after what? He suffered, died, and rose again, he can call out the second coming, right?
Right.
And so these are the type of things, the type of method Jesus used to show who he was to the people. Okay? All right. So again, going back down to this. Now, the parable of the fig tree is actually talking about the coming of the Roman invasion. Okay? He's still on that same topic. Right? So when it started sprouting leaves, you know that what? The season has changed.
Right.
Right? And so in this case, in the Middle East, that means that the summer season, was coming. Okay, that's how they reckoned it in those days. And so obviously then he said, if you can see that, if you're smart enough to know changes in the seasons, you're going to know changes in your environment that the Romans are coming. Okay? Because he gave you all the signs that they would be coming, right? All the way throughout this chapter, right? And so that would mean then that they would have what? Forewarning before they came so they could flee to the hills. Remember he told them to do that? Flee to the mountains, things of that nature, so that what? That they didn't get closed in Jerusalem. Because if they get closed in within the gates of Jerusalem, they'd been sitting Dutch, right? Right? And they would have been slaughtered with the other million people that died during that invasion. So Jesus was preserving the church. Think about it that way, right? He was preserving the church and the generations that would come after them, even till now. Okay? So remember what did Daniel talk about? We talked about it in the past, right? That God would establish a kingdom that what? Could never be destroyed. Okay? And so that was being perpetuated right now. Okay? All right. So obviously then, Jesus was saying that a historical event would happen before the second coming. And that historical event happened in 70 AD, which is what? The Roman invasion of Jerusalem. Okay? All right. So again, the main point is one would be proof of the other. Again, if Jesus could call out the Roman invasion, he can call out what? The second coming. In truth. Okay? All right. Any questions or comments on that so far? All right. Now we'll move on. All right. So although, now he also still goes into Romans 24 and shows them, although you can see that coming, you're not going to see me coming. Right. You get that? He wouldn't give the same signs that he was coming again. Okay? Because what did we say? What did the Bible always say? That people come like a what? Thief in the night. So remember, he's dealing with two topics at the same time in Matthew chapter number 24, right? So again, although they would see the signs of the Roman siege or this Roman invasion, they would never be able to predict the second coming of Jesus, right? We proved that, right? Right. Ever since, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but ever since Jesus said you won't predict it, somebody always have tried, right? Right. And what happens every time they try? They fail, right? Because Jesus can call it out, right? And they could. And they could not, right? Exactly, because why? He's divine and they're not. That's right. Right? All right? Absolutely. All right, so obviously then, you can read between the lines, God purposely hid the second coming unto us. He purposely is keeping it secret. Because what does he want us to do in the meantime? Be ready. Yeah. He just wants you to be ready at all times. That's the way he's doing the second coming, right? So he can come at any time, morning, noon, night, whatever. Today, 1,000 years from now, whenever. But he's saying what? Just keep your life right, right? In other words, keep believing, obeying to the end. And what's going to happen? Heaven's going to be your home, right? He wants us in line at all times. So let's look at it real quick. So 1 Thessalonians 5, 2 and verse 3. Somebody read that for me, please. It goes along and harmonizes with Matthew 24, of course.
For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night.
All right, so stop there just for a minute. Once you get to number 3, we'll get finished, okay? So for you yourselves know perfectly, that means completely, that the what? Day of the Lord. Whenever he talks about the second coming, is he talking in the plural or the singular? The singular. He always calls it what? The day of the Lord. The second coming is what? The end. It's one, right? I was just watching, I think it was just John Ankerberg, and he had a panel of folks up there, these so-called Bible scholars, and I basically had to turn it off. I normally watch that because it don't hurt my stomach when I watch it. But this time I'm like, y'all be quiet. You don't know what you're talking about. But anyway, they were trying to figure out the timing. The timing. Remember, they're premillennialism, right? Remember we talked about that? That Christ is supposed to come back and what? Establish a kingdom on earth. Which already been done. Right? But they're still thinking, they were still waiting on it, right? And they're trying to figure out, when are we going to come back to earth? We're not coming back to earth. Yeah, exactly. What you going to stand on? We have already established You know, over the weeks that we studied, there's going to be no earth to come back to.
That's right.
And there's only going to be what? One coming
That's right.
of Jesus. When he comes back, that's it. Because at that point, as the scriptures teach, he's going to what? Deliver the kingdom to God. In order to deliver the kingdom to God, it means what? It's already here. Here. Okay? Not coming to establish. He's coming to take it away. Right? To be forever with him in the Lord. Right? So again, we just established that, and she just read it for us. Thank you so much. For ye yourselves know perfectly, that means completely, that the what? The day, not the days. He's not coming back, establish the kingdom, and come back again. It required too many days. Right?
Right.
He said what? The day of the Lord, so cometh as a what? Thief in the night, meaning what? Unannounced. You're not going to expect it. Just be ready for it. Right? Okay? All right. Keep going. All right, read that for me, please. Next.
But when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction shall come upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape.
Okay, so she's talking about the status of the world, right? Because you still got those right now.
Yeah.
You know, you got the scoffers. Those that say Jesus ain't never coming back. You know, that kind of stuff, right? And they're going to be going about the business. Business as usual, you know, be the same as we do today, right? Going to work. You know, going, picking up the kids at daycare, right? Going to weddings. Going to funerals. Having a good time, you know, all that kind of stuff. But God is saying what? They're going to say what? Everything's all right. We at peace. Nothing going on. There's nothing that cosmos looking funny or anything like that, right? We safe. You know, there's no big wars going around, you know, on around us and things like that, right? But then God said what? Then what? Sudden.
That's right.
Sudden destruction, right? So it's going to come quick, fast, in a hurry when it does. Right? Mm-hmm. Exactly. And what it says, he just said it. It shall come upon them, the ones that's taking it lightly. That's the subject, right? Yeah. Those are saying everything as it always have been. Nothing's going to happen, that kind of stuff. And I hope that's not some of the folks that fall away from the church. Can I say that? You know, some folks go out there and say, I'll come back. You know, when I'm ready and all that kind of stuff. Well, what if you come back before you come back? Then what's going to happen? Sudden destruction will come upon you. Right? Right? I see your hand. I'm going to get you. Don't worry. Don't worry. And he compares it to what? As travail upon a woman with what?
A child.
So how do we call that? What do we call that? Labor, yeah. Childbirth. Now, I never had a child, but from my understanding is that when that train get going, you can't stop it. Some of y'all laughing. I guess that's true, right? That boat leaving the dock, it's floating, right? You can't even put an anchor down to stop that one, right? That's the analogy he's using. That's the symbolism he's using. Just like you can't stop childbirth. That's going to sometimes sudden destruction. No, I shouldn't say destruction. No, you should have. But anyway, you didn't get that. That's okay. But when that happens, that dramatic moment happens, right? The same thing's going to happen at the second coming. And God said what? They shall what? Not escape. How can you escape anything? I mean, you think about it. If the earth is going to burn up, melt and all that kind of stuff, you can run to the hills. It's going to melt on top of you. Huh? If you don't disintegrate first, you know, I don't know what it's going to look like. No man does, and I don't think I want to. You see what I'm saying? I'm trying to be one of the 1 Thessalonians 4, 16 and 17 guys, right? Y'all be trying to be that same thing. What, we gonna fly? Hey, you know, and y'all don't be mad, because I know y'all come from the disco era. I'm gonna say, burn, baby, burn it. And be gone. Gone, man. Go ahead, brother. You're waiting.
I was just, while you was talking about that, I was going to say that preparation is an ongoing process that's going to last forever. Even though you are a Christian, the preparation progress is always in front of you, and you are always preparing. That's the way he left us, to continue to prepare for him to come. And this just a continuous, ongoing process that we have to do.
Exactly. That's what Peter says. He says what? Add to your faith. What? Knowledge, virtue, temperance, so, you know, so forth and so on. Because why? You're constantly growing. You should be every day of your life. Every day of your life. That's part of the preparation process, right? That's the maturity God wants us to have, you know. And I commend you folks here today. You could be doing something else, right? I don't know about you. I work today. It'd be nice to put my feet up on the couch, you know. But what are we doing? We preparing for Christ's coming, right? We letting him mold us like clay so that we look like the beautiful vase he's trying to make out of us, you know, symbolically speaking. All right, very good. Any other questions or comments on that? All right. Very, very good. Go ahead.
I just have one. It's kind of a corny, comical joke.
Okay.
So the song "I'll Fly Away," it's like one of my favorite songs. And just like you said, the whole this little era burn, baby burn. I'm afraid of heights, but I want to fly.
Hey, amen. Have you ever been on a roller coaster or anything like that?
Yeah, that's scary.
Well, if you were secure on that, imagine being secure in the arms of Jesus.
Exactly.
That's the way I look at it. You see, you can't fail with him, can you? Yeah. All right. Did somebody else have their hand up? Thought I saw your hand. All right. If not, let's move on. I don't want you pulling out your afros and your bell bottoms either, just because I make it out. You ain't young no more. Don't hurt yourself. All right. Let's move on. All right. So now we're at the point of Matthew 24:34. So we're just making our way down the chapter, as we typically have been. So somebody read this. This is key. This is important because this stabs, kills, wounded, buries premillennialism. It kills it right here. Just this one verse. Somebody read that for me, please.
Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled.
What? What shall not pass?
This
Generation.
Who is Jesus talking to? No, he's talking specifically. He is now in retrospect. The saints win. That lived to literally hear him say these words. He said what? They will not pass. That means they won't die till what? All these things be what? Fulfilled. So all this great tribulation, the setting up of the kingdom, all these things that Jesus foretold to happen had to happen during the first century. It couldn't happen in the future. Because why? The people have been dead and gone nearly 2,000 years. Right? Now you see why I said it kills premillennialism, right? Because he said the same thing about the kingdom. Right? He said what? The kingdom shall come. You know, those that are alive shall not die until what? The kingdom comes. He said these events in Matthew 24 won't happen until what? These people won't die before it happens, what I'm trying to say. That makes sense to you? So obviously then, the things he's foretelling, except for that which is specific to the second coming, was to happen during the lifetime of those that heard them. The only event that could happen time-wise and fit all of the qualifications of Matthew 24 is what? The Roman invasion of Jerusalem. Because it happened in 70 AD, right? Only around 40 years after the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, right? So that means if somebody was 20 years old, then it'd have been 60. Right? So it couldn't have been an event that happened too far out. Otherwise, all of them people would have been dead, right? You get it? It takes one verse to slay a devil's lie. One verse. That's all it takes. Okay? Makes sense to you? All right. Now, so again, let me repeat it. The people living at the same time as Jesus and hearing these words from the Lord would see the tribulation, the true great tribulation, not what's on TV, but the biblical great tribulation would happen to the Jewish people. And it did in 70 AD. All right. So again, this is further proof that the destruction and suffering mentioned by Jesus was talking about an event that would happen in the lifetime of those hearers. Okay? And that can only mean what? The destruction of Jerusalem. Okay? Make sense to you? Yeah. All right, y'all quit buying Tim LaHaye books and all that kind of nonsense. Left Behind and all that, because That's a misinterpretation of Matthew 24. Matthew 24 verse 34 kills that whole book and that whole series. Because why? Somebody skipping verses or on purpose skipped it. Okay. That was a shock. Any questions or comments before we move on? All right. I don't like busting people bubble, but it is what it is.
Right.
It is what it is. Can't lie to you. All right. Let's go to verse 35. Matthew 24:35. Somebody read that for me, please.
Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away.
What's going to pass away?
Heaven and earth.
You see the same pattern throughout all the scriptures we studied?
That's right.
God keeps saying the same thing over and over and over again. If you don't get it the first time, He's going to say it to you 2, 3, 4, 10 times. Then what? Heaven, His creation, right? And what? Earth. What does it mean? Pass away means what? Peter told us, right? It's going to be what? Destroyed, right? Heaven and earth shall pass away, but He said what? My words shall not what? Pass away. So that means His words are going to follow us all the way to the judgment day, right? People can say what they want to say. They try to destroy the Bible. They can try to kill all the Christians in the world, because that's how people have tried to do that, over history. But have they ever been able to succeed? No. That's why the Bible's still intact today, right? All of that kind of stuff, right? Lots of Christians died because of their faith. But still what? That didn't stop Jesus' words from making it to our day. And all the way what? To the judgment day and beyond, right? Because why? His words shall not what? Pass away. So that means John 14 verse 6 is always going to stand. Well, what do you say? Y'all know it because we say it every week. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh to the Father but
By me.
by me. So people deny that all the time. He ain't the Son of God. He ain't the Messiah. He ain't this. He ain't that. All right. They're going to stand right in front of John 14 verse 6 on that day, right? They're stand in front of John 3 verse 16. What did it say? For God so loved the world that He did what? He gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in Him shall not perish but have everlasting life. Everybody's going to meet that on the judgment day, right? People try to rip out Mark 16 verse 16, don't they? But they're going to meet that one too, right? What did it say? Jesus said what? He that believes and is baptized shall be saved. He that believeth not shall be damned, right? We ain't got to be baptized to be saved. Okay, let's see what happens on the judgment day. Those words going to follow you. Just like what? The rest of the Bible. Okay? And we can go on and on. But you get the point, don't you? That Jesus' words shall never pass away, no matter if people deny Him, no matter how many commentaries they write out there to say He ain't the Son of God, no matter how many religions Satan comes up with to try to cut Jesus out of the process, Jesus' words is going to do what? Still what? Follow Him to the judgment day. Go ahead, brother. Let me see your hand up first.
And I was talking to fellows that's a Jehovah's Witness.
Yep.
We have so called Jehovah's Witness. And because he was saying that the earth, well, they teach that the earth will not be burned up.
That's famous doctrine.
They're going to live right here on the earth for eternity. So I was telling him, now, according to the scripture says that heaven and earth will pass away, but my word shall not pass away. But he said, now they've added the word before. He said before in the scripture that I get to watch the New World Translation on Watchtower Society where it was getting from. He said before heaven and earth pass away, my word will. Now, well, he's saying just as sure as the Lord's word is going to stand, the earth was going to stand too. That's the way
They ain't say that.
they changed that all together.
Right.
They had a word in it, it changes what it's really saying.
Mm-hmm. Sound like a John 8:44 situation.
Well, like,
You are of your father, the devil. He was a liar, y'all. He was a liar from the beginning, because what did he do in the garden? Thou shalt not surely die. He added one word. And you add one word to that, what do? You lie, you change the scriptures, and you have the authority to do so. So again, I'm going to get you this. That's the same thing. What he just said. It kills the Jehovah's Witness doctrine that earth will not be destroyed. I still remember before moving here in Michigan, and came to my door saying the same thing, and they were just yelling, the earth is not going be destroyed. I don't know why they was bringing that to me. They must have knew about me or something in the neighborhood or something like that. Well, all I can do was see y'all later. Because I'm going to believe God. I'm going to pay no attention to that nonsense you talk. Go ahead, sister.
But I always just say, when they talk, what is your purpose? If you ain't working to get to heaven, you won't stay on earth. What is your purpose?
Yeah, true. It's a common sense thing, right?
Yeah.
You gonna stay down here, you gotta take blood pressure pills the rest of your life?
Right.
Because if you change to the earth, you change to the earth's diseases. You change to the earth's what? Struggles, hardship, and suffering. It's gotta be something better than this down here, right?
Right.
That was common sense. Very good, very good. All right. So obviously then, somebody give me Hebrews 12:24 and John 12:48, just because I'm running out of time here.
And to Jesus he gave a new covenant, and to the blood of sprinkling that speaketh better things than that baby.
So obviously then, that's one of the foundational scriptures. You combine that with Colossians 2 verse 14, which we've done in the past, and that tells you what? The New Testament is in force, and not the Old Testament, right? Because if you think about it now, think about it this way. Jesus did not say that Moses' word and my word shall not pass away. He said what? My word shall not pass away. Where is his word contained? The New Testament. Right, absolutely. All right, so obviously then he's the mediator of the New Testament, right? The mediator of the new covenant, as the Bible tells us, right? And so that means that what? He's a lawgiver for today. Okay? And so we're under the law of Christ. People don't like to use that word, but that's what it is.
Man.
The New Testament is the law of Christ. As you have the law of Moses, you also have the what? Law of Christ, and one supersedes the other. The law of Christ supersedes the what? Law of Moses. The law of Christ is the one, which is Jesus, that's going to follow us to the judgment day. Okay? All right, somebody get John 12:48 for me real quick. Boy, that time gets away quick.
He that rejecteth me and receiveth not my word hath one that judgeth him. The word that I have spoken, the same shall judge him in the last day.
So he said it more than once, didn't he?
Yeah.
So Jesus must have meant business, right? You can reject me all you want, but what? The New Testament testifies of him being the Savior, right?
Right.
And that's going to what? Follow you to
Good.
the judgment day. So don't deny him, right? I mean, it's still the same concept. As he told us, about confessing him, right? He said, what? If you confess me before men, him will I confess before my Father and in heaven. But he that denieth me before men, him will I also what? Deny before my Father which is in heaven. Okay? All right, so it's the same concept. You cannot be saved without Jesus as the head of your life. Okay? That's going to follow us all the way to the judgment day. All right? Now, somebody, let's see. Oh, well, we'll come to it one by one. But Matthew 24, verse 36 to 44 is when he really specifically hones in and focuses on the second coming. So most of the stuff that he's been talking about all the way down to this part of the chapter was the Roman invasion. Now he's really going to start concentrating on the second coming. Okay, in Matthew 24, verse 36 to 44. So know how to rightly divide that. Okay, so you don't get confused. All right, so again, look at this. He said the same thing again. 24, verse 36. Somebody read that. Matthew 24, verse 36. Says it again. Y'all can harmonize. I mean, but anybody, go ahead.
But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no not the angels of heaven, but my Father only.
Again, what did he say? But of that day and hour what? Knoweth no man. Sorry, Watchtower, you failed too many times.
Right.
Keep trying to predict it. Keep messing up. Because why? You're men.
Yeah.
You'll never know. Right?
Angels don't know.
Not even the angels, but God has what? Reserved it for himself, right? But of that day and hour knoweth what? No man. No, not the angels of heaven, right? They already in the spot.
Yeah.
In heaven, right?
Yeah.
They can't even go over here. You know what I mean? They can't even snoop and get the information. He said, not even they know it, but what? My Father only. He's got the best security system in the world, right? If he want to lock it up, forget Fort Knox. They have nothing in comparison to him, right? If God want to hide something, he surely will hide it and nobody will find it, right? That's his prerogative. That's what he does, right? So again, look at it. Over this 7-8 months we've been studying this, we keep hearing the same concept over and over and over again. God wants us to get this, what I believe here. So the Bible constantly repeats itself about mankind not knowing when Jesus is going to come back. Again, we studied many failed predictions, and they're going to continue to fail until he comes back. Okay? All right, but the good thing about failed predictions is that it identifies who the false prophets are. Look at Deuteronomy 18:22. Principle from the Old Testament, which is basically wisdom. Remember, we can learn from the Old Testament. We can't be saved by it, but we can learn from it. All right, Deuteronomy 18:22. Somebody read that for me, please. One of the 5 books of Moses.
When a prophet speaketh in the name of the Lord, if the thing follow not nor come to pass, that is the thing which the Lord has not spoken, but the prophet has spoken it presumptuously. Thou shalt not be afraid of him.
Right. So God is saying that if a false prophet mess up one time, he didn't come from God. Right? And we don't have no reason to be scared of him because why? He don't have no power. Right? I mean, think about all this all the time. Think about what people say. You know, especially if you come out of the Pentecostal. I was over there for a minute. Y'all know that. And you know how they come over and try to prophesy over. You're going to have $1 million. Your years of fortune is coming. Well, I ain't seen it yet. Y'all know how they do. Come on. Don't act like you don't know. People get so excited to pass it out and all that kind of stuff. How come it ain't come true? If it ain't come true, you must not have come from God. Okay? People got to stop being gullible. Stop being gullible. God gave us the wisdom. If they predict something and don't come true, then God didn't send them. Stop listening to them. Stop coming to their churches. Stop paying them. That's what you're doing. Okay? You're just taking advantage of people. Okay? But any questions or comments? I think I'm going to stop here, guys. It's not as far as I wanted to get, but I think that's good enough for tonight. And we'll pick up the topic on the next occasion. So what you would do is study ahead of me, Matthew 24, 37, 39. Remember, he's talking specifically about the second coming. We've entered that section of the chapter. So that's what he's referring to. Okay? All right. And of course, you know, you're Acts 17 Christians as well. Ancient Bereans, you got to study behind me to see if these things are so. But any closing comments before we move on? All right. If not, then we'll let one of the brothers give us a song, and we'll reconvene after that with a full assembly. God bless you.
This world is not my home. I'm just a passing through. My treasures are laid up somewhere beyond the blue. The angels beckon me from heaven's open door, and I can't feel at home in this world anymore. angels beckon me from heaven's open door, and I can feel